Hello, everybody. It's Ali Duzette, and welcome to day 7. We're about halfway through this eclipse portal of March 2025, and today is actually the astrological new year. So, woo, so exciting. If you love the new year, like I do, I love the new year. I got married on New Year's Eve. Love it. Well, the new year that we celebrate with our Gregorian calendar is not really the real new year, and this is the real new year. This is when the zodiac resets. This is when we all get to start new things. We're starting with the spring of the year. And um, I don't know, this is just an exciting time. The sun enters 00 degrees of Aries today, and that makes today the astrological new year. This is a great day to set intentions, create New Year's resolutions, and all of that good New Year's type of stuff. It does not really make sense to set those things in the middle of winter when everything is like, asleep and hibernating. This is the natural new year where new life is coming forward, okay? And again, today is about halfway through this year's first eclipse portal. Very, very exciting. Are you already feeling some big shifts? I will be really interested to hear your experience if you want to share it here or in my Facebook group, Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. Okay, Aries, this guy right here, this is a ram. That's Aries. This is the sign of starting things, starting new things. It is the sign of birth. This is the time of year that we celebrate Easter and resurrection. And we celebrate with things like baby bunnies and chicks and lambs and all the new life that is entering existence at this time. This is a big time where nature is setting forth its new buds, it's growing new leaves, we're having new babies, and it's just so good. So good. This solar eclipse is taking place on March 29th, and it's going to take place in the sign of Aries, right here at 9 degrees and 00 minutes of Aries. Today, we get to focus on where we want to be reborn and how we already are being reborn. We're halfway through this eclipse portal. How are you feeling like the rebirth process is going for you? Okay, if you think about actual birth, you start the process in this cozy womb, you end the process, outside of your mother and as a separate being. And in the middle, we have to get squished through the birth canal. And sometimes that can be really fast, and sometimes it can be really slow. So I had one child who I went into labor at 6:15 p.m. and she was in my arms at 6:25 p.m. That's a 10-minute labor. It was insane. And she came out in one push, and it ripped me up pretty bad. And um, it was really fast, but it was a little bit violent in its way, if you know what I mean. And then I've also had births that took like a really long time. I had a 44-hour labor with one kid. And there are times where it might take you an hour or more of pushing to get this baby out. And so our birthing processes going from what the familiar zone into a whole new way of existence, it can be fast and dirty. It can be slow and take a longer time. With that 44-hour labor that I had, at the very end of it, I was like ready to just like push this kid out. And the midwife saw this and she said, "Ali, don't do this. Don't do this. Breathe and let this birth go slow." And she just said, "If you push this baby out fast, you are going to get ripped up again." She had stitched me up from the previous birth. And she said, "If you can just go slow and take your deep breath and allow this birth to happen as slowly as it needs to, it's going to happen so much more safely and so much more gently. And yeah, it's going to take longer, and in its way, it's going to hurt more, but it's going to be so much safer and so much more pleasant for you in the aftermath." And so that birth, instead of one push, it took about an hour, and it was the most excruciating experience. That 1 hour was like so hard. Um, but that kid was almost 10 pounds, and I did not rip or anything like that. Um, so I'm bringing up these stories because we are all in the birth canal right now. We're in the solar eclipse birth canal. Is your own experience being fast and crazy? Is it being slow and gentle? Um, However it's going, we are still being transported from an old way of existing to a new way of existing. And it may be a subtle shift, and it might be a hugely impactful very obvious shift. It just depends person to person. As we are going through this birth canal process, the big question is, where do you want to be reborn? What do you want to have happening on the other side of this experience for you? Because I just really believe in the power of choice, the power of agency, the power of making a decision and saying, you know what, this is what I want. I want this. Um, we don't always get everything that we want, but you definitely can't get what you want if you don't even know what you want, right? And you definitely can't get what you want if you don't ask for what you want. Ask and you shall receive. This is a divine principle. So as we are going through this birthing process, I just wanted to invite you to really be conscious of how you want to start over. This is big starting over energy. And there's a big blessing on it. Look at that. That's the part of fortune, a big blessing on a rebirth. Okay. And it's exact to the degree. The ascendant, this is a big deal. We have big blessings on our rebirth processes if we want to take advantage of those. Okay, I wanted to talk today about starting over because I, in my life, have hated starting over, and I feel like I usually have a pretty good attitude about my life, but man, getting partially along a process and then having to absolutely scrap it and begin again, oh my gosh, what is more frustrating than that? I'm like getting better at handling this, but it's horrible. Okay. Starting over can have a bad reputation. Who wants to work really hard at something and then have to scrap it all and start over? Having to start over can trigger fear and panic and anxiety and anger and frustration and resentment and bitterness and way more than that. And there's just these horrible feelings that we worked really hard and it was all for nothing. It was wasted. If you are feeling any of those feelings, I'm going to recommend going to allyduzetclasses.com and checking out the frustration session, Axe anxiety, the resentment session, the bitterness session, and the anger series. You don't have to do all of them. You don't have to do any of them. But if any of those catch your eye, I'm going to recommend that you check them out. But it's important to recognize that starting over is not inherently bad. It's not wrong to start over. Okay. It is actually very safe to start over. It is okay to abandon a project and begin again. It is okay to realize that we did something that wasn't right in our process and now we get to start from the beginning. It's important to recognize that even though it feels like we put in all this effort and now we have to start over and all that effort was wasted, can we believe that there is no wasted effort? Can we believe that everything that we pour our heart and souls into, there is something important that comes from that. And maybe we don't need to continue investing that way into every situation. Sometimes we have to let it go and start something new, but it wasn't a waste of time. Okay. It was not a waste of time. I have to give myself this pep talk like pretty regularly because in the moment that it looks like effort was wasted, it's like extremely discouraging, obviously. And we just have to remember that no effort is wasted. Everything that we work for is teaching us something, even if it doesn't make sense, even if we don't understand it, there is some kind of learning and growth that is happening. And our job is just to trust that, okay? We have to trust that the way that we have used our bodies to create the effort for these endeavors has changed us, and it was an important change. It may not feel like the changes that we've experienced are for the better, but it is for the wiser if we choose to let these experiences make us wise. Here are some tapping scripts for us today. I'm just going to read these through one time, but you can take a little screenshot of this and tap through these today throughout the day, and that's going to be a great idea. You can tap on your collarbone or just listen along as I say it. I forgive myself for the times I thought I wasted my efforts. I choose to feel and release my big feelings about wasted effort. It can be safe to consider that my efforts were not wasted. It can be safe to consider that my wasted efforts can make me wise. It can be safe to start again. It can be safe to feel calm about starting again. Just because I started something doesn't mean I have to finish it. I forgive myself for not finishing. I can start over if I want to. I can be reborn if I want to. Let's go ahead and breathe our deep breaths about this. Today, I wanted to invite you to ask God and your body where you are being asked to start something new. Where are you being asked to start something over again? take deep breaths, scribble out your fears or stress about starting again. If you need instructions for that, I'll try to remember to put the scribbling tutorial in the links below. But if you just search Ali Duzette scribbling, the video will come right up here on YouTube. We are not behind. We are right on time. You are not behind. You are right on time. It is okay to start again. You are not behind. We have all the time that we need. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Check out aliduzetclasses.com. I was hoping to record a New Year session today to help us set intentions and to help us feel calm about starting over, like kind of like a rebirth session. So go check out my website and see if it's right, see if it's in there. Um, I'll try to add the link to that below if I end up recording that today. But yeah, I'm just really glad that you're here. Thanks for coming along on this journey. Every time one person becomes a little bit more conscious about how to use the energies that we're experiencing every day, it blesses the entire world. Our raising consciousness blesses everyone around us and ourselves. And so I'm just really grateful that you're here. Thanks for coming along on the journey, and I will see you tomorrow.